again. I know I just ended the previous video, but I wanted to do a brief update on Lambda School and the journey that I've been on. So far, it's my third week. Well, starting on my third week today, and the first 2 weeks that we went over was basic HTML, CSS, how to make sites responsive, that those sort of things. Just and also getting very familiar with Git, GitHub, version control, branching, and just that process. So I have a bone to pick. Because if you Google Lambda School right now in this moment, I think the third or fourth option that you're going to find is something that says, I did Lambda School and you shouldn't. Or I did Lambda School and it was a bad idea. Or, something along those lines. And I mean, Lambda School truly is only, I believe it's only like a year and a half old. But just a couple days ago, they just posted that every single student from the first full-time cohort, every single student has landed a job, and I believe the numbers. Don't quote me, but I believe the numbers for the salary was 60,000 or higher. Now, for some people, that's a little bit of a jump, but I specifically know of an individual who they last year for their taxes, their reportable income was 10,000. This year, because or after a year later after they graduated from Lambda, they got a job offer for $100,000. In his case, that's a 10 times salary increase. For many people, it'd be 2 or 3 times. In some places, 4 times. But still, even if it was 2 times, doubling your salary, that's significant. Especially nowadays where, sorry, getting into a conversation not meant for this. Anyways, Lambda School, it's truly here for individuals with no coding experience, taught by people who have gone through not teachers. I mean, we have teachers and we have section leads that have teaching experience, but the individuals that you meet with, and at least with my PM, he's phenomenal. We meet daily just to talk about, make sure there's no issues, make sure if there's questions that they're addressed immediately, and it's it's only here to set you up. If you look at all the other boot camps that are out there, they're I mean, I'm not knocking them, but I am knocking them because one, you have to pay up front. And I understand you have to pay to get value, but 20 to $40,000 for anywhere between 12 weeks long course to 6 months or even a year. That's a lot of money up front for a short term. I mean, if you went the community college route, that's an associate's degree cost of money. It's just a lot of money up front. Is what I'm trying to say. Now, if you look at Lambda School, first and foremost, they have what's called an income share agreement. Okay, phenomenal. I mean, it's so amazing that I think it's Purdue University that's now, instead of taking school or student loans, they're issuing ISAs or income share agreements. And it's they're still new, they're still trying to get the hang of it, but that's the way of the future. How an income share agreement works is you basically go through and you receive the training up front. You don't pay any money down. I mean, you can, but you don't pay any money down. You don't, go out and get a $10,000 loan just so you can attend the boot camp or anything of that nature. You get the training up front, and you get the mentoring, the camaraderie, the networking, the career coaching, portfolio building. I mean, you get everything here at Lambda School. I'm sure other boot camps do something similar, but Lambda School, in my opinion, is very, very unique. Now, with Lambda School, how it works is you have to at least make $50,000 a year, and instead of basing it off of a yearly time scale because your income can fluctuate on a monthly basis or even a biweekly basis depending on your job. So I believe it's $4,166 a month that you have to make in order to pay after you have gotten a job paying you, at least that salary for that month. At that point in time, they would take 17% of your monthly income, and then they would compare that against your taxes at the end of the year, just to make sure that you didn't overpay and also that you didn't underpay. Just checks and balances, of course. And the if you go to their website under outcomes, I think it's lambdaschool.com/outcomes. On that page, it says that the average salary is 70,000 or higher, and on top of that, I believe I think it was 82%. Now it's like 86%. From graduation from 6 months after graduation to having a full-time job paying you at least $50,000 or more. Now, what's really great about this income share agreement is let's say month one through month, I can't do math in my head, but let's say for the first 4 years, because the income share agreement contract lasts 5 years. And of those 5 years, only 2 years total, or 24 months of those 5 years, where you make $4,166 or more, do they take 17% of your salary. So let's say month one you make 4,166. Well, they take 17% of your salary that month. But next month you make 3,300. They take nothing. And if you make 3,300 from month two till the very end of the income share agreement contract term of 5 years, and you only make them that 3,300, they don't take 17% of your salary. If you don't make 50,000 or more, or $4,166 a month, you don't pay anything. So how can Lambda School, this online web training boot camp, how can it be a scam? They're not going to make money unless you make money. And in order for them to make any money off of you, you have to make good money. And the average of everyone, at least in my experience in the past couple of weeks, people have been reporting $80,000 to $120,000 incomes. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, right now, you would be lucky to make $30,000 to $45,000, depending on the state where you're at, without a college degree. You'd be so lucky. Well, with Lambda School, you don't pay anything up front, so there's uh, no loan debt, and on top of that, no loan debt, there's also um, no interest. So you're not paying 6% interest on a loan that lasts for 40 years. The most you could ever pay at Lambda is $30,000 capped. So if you land a job paying $100,000, they're going to take a little bit more, but they're still going to take that 17%. And if you pay off the $30,000 within that first year, or whatever time frame, if it's a year, 6 months, year and a half, whatever it is, your income share agreement's fulfilled. You don't have to do any more. So it's 5-year term, 24 months max that you would have to pay, and if you meet $30,000 or pay $30,000 off sooner, then it stops. It doesn't keep going. Now, if you compare that to most student loans, you go to school, you get $20,000 if you're lucky in school debt, and then that debt is getting 6% interest every single month. You're going to pay far more, somewhere around. I'm clearly going to school for web design and not math, but you're going to get really close to around 40 plus $1,000 that you're actually going to have to pay off in turn, or um, in the end. Now, the other thing about Lambda School that I really like is that they don't just teach you basic fundamentals and then throw you out into the sharks of the world and say, okay, thanks for paying your $40,000 and go have fun trying to land a job. No, Lambda School full time is 9 months, which is a recent change, and that's 8 to 5 Pacific time. And then they have two part time times that switch every other month. Um, so it's earlier in the day 1 month, and then it's later in the day the next month, and it just kind of switches back and forth each month. And the part time has the option of either doing a 14-month or an 18-month term. But what's really neat, I know it sounds like a long time, but they go through and make sure that your portfolio is being constantly built on, so that way most people are job ready within about 6 months, 3 to 6 months. You're usually job ready. And then because they start having you build projects, they have you meet companies, you can network with individuals and network with companies and the recruiters. And Lambda even has contracts through, well, I don't know if I should talk about this, but Lambda has contracts through companies to make sure that their students get good paying jobs that meet at least the 50,000. Usually it's 60 or $70,000 where they're hiring, um, and that they have really solid relationships. I mean, a lot of students at Lambda School are getting hired by Wayfair.com and or Wayfair company, and Wayfair is an amazing company. I mean, the the culture, the environment, the growth potential. It's a phenomenal company to work for, and Lambda School students love to get the jobs there. Zeet is also another company that students get jobs at. These companies that I'm saying don't specifically have contracts with Lambda, but it's worth it. Um, a lot of people end up getting jobs through them just because they recognize the value and the worth through Lambda School grads. TLDR, too long. Well, TLDW, too long, didn't watch. Lambda School's great. They invest in you before you invest in them. Your average income is going to be around $70,000 entry level getting into that developer position. You already know my stance. Go Lambda because they invest in you. If you have any questions, comment on this video or send me an email contact at robertpeterson.dev and I'll be glad to get back to you. Have a great